listen, let me just say this. If you are going to make a sermon to preach about Donald Trump and the things you claim he's been doing, you should equally be willing to preach about Joe Biden and the things that he's doing. You ain't nowhere in the world you looking with a clean perspective and you think Donald Trump is doing things he shouldn't do, but you don't think Biden is. You don't have a clear conscience or a clean perspective. And this is what's been happening. Ladies and gentlemen, black people are probably the most churchy people in America. They were. I don't know about now, but they were. Where do we get our knowledge from? Where do we get our fight from? Where do we get our freedom from? Jesus Christ of Nazareth. How do you know that, Mr. Tatum? That one of the biggest influencers in the movement was Martin Luther King. What was Martin Luther King? A preacher. He was a reverend. We were enthusiastic about going to church no matter what. You were poor, you were rich, you went to church in the black community. And you stood up on those principles. And at some point along the way, the black church, the black reverend was weaponized in order to trick us, in order to convince us and have us believing that black come before Jesus, that black come before your salvation, that being black is more important than being in the body of Christ unified. That's why you hear the man talking about, if anybody can, oh, you haven't heard the clip. I'm going to speak the clip for you. You'll hear his racism while he claiming to call out racism as a reverend. Roll clip 2.
Last week, Ryan Christopher Palmeter went to a Dollar General in Jacksonville, Florida, killed Angela Carr, Anno LaGuire Jr., and Gerard Gallion, went over to Edward Waters College first and was run off campus because he looked suspicious. Probably wanted to do damage over there. 3 people's lives taken because of the color of their skin. And all of this behavior is not random. It is sanctioned by a government who tries to subjectively say that black lives don't matter. All of this behavior.
I got to pause Thicky Smiles here real quick. You know how stupid that sounds? This nut killed 3 people. And it's because of government who's subjectively saying that black lives don't matter. Last time I checked, if the man hadn't killed himself, he probably would have been killed by the police officers. Or he would have went to prison for the rest of his life for the death of these people. If this government sanctioned, then these people wouldn't even be getting in trouble for this stuff. If it's government sanctioned. If the government is saying black lives don't matter, they wouldn't be reporting on television run by white people to give light to a terrorist attack of a lunatic killing black people. His manifesto wouldn't be nowhere. They wouldn't even be talking about it. You know, I get sick and tired of these silly black people like this guy. There's a lot of good ones, and there's a lot of silly ones. And this guy is a silly one. I don't understand why it's this perpetual state of victimhood that's just falling on the heads of black people who are ministers. Quit acting like white people is worried about you. Most white people don't care nothing about what black people are doing in their own life. They only care when you come rob their house or something. Most people don't care. But in the mind of a reverend, he want to put it in the mind of black people that the whole existence in America is white versus black. It's crazy to me how these people are doing this, using this senseless murder to capitalize on pushing racism. Well, if you just simply do a simple mathematical equation, all you have to do is say the black men or people who are murdered in America is X. That's a number. Average a year about 6,000 to 7,000 a year. Murdered. Then you say the percentage of the black people murdered by black people are X. And the percentage of black people murdered in America by white people are X. And if you look at the percentages, 96% of murdered black people are murdered by other black people. How then can you argue that black people are living in a state of white supremacy, that's causing them to lose their lives when 96% of brothers who get killed are killed by other black men. If you ask me, it's a problem with black on black murder. It has nothing to do with state-sanctioned white murder against blacks.